What's up, ladies and gentlemen? It's your boy, Mr. Big Hatch. Welcome to my channel for the people. In this topic, we'll be talking about Vince McMahon and racism in WWE. Now, I'm going to start off this video, with a bit of a banger and a bit of a shocker. I don't think Vince McMahon is racist at all. I don't think Vince McMahon is racist. I don't. And I'm about to tell you why I don't think Vince McMahon is racist in a minute. But this is what I'm going to get at first. Vince McMahon is not racist. I don't think Vince McMahon can give a fuck what color you are. Vince McMahon cares about money and ratings and success. He can give a fuck what color you are. So when people be like, oh, Vince don't push black wrestlers, or Vince this, that, and the third, Vince don't like black people, Vince don't push black wrestlers, Vince there's no, before Kofi and E and Bobby, it was no black world champions, no black WWE champions or whatever. You know what I'm saying? That racist promo with Booker T and the whole program in general with Booker T and Triple H. You know what I'm saying? You can, I hear you, but I'm about to explain to you why Vince McMahon is not racist, and the numerous black talent that Vince McMahon tried to push but ultimately has failed. And most of these times, it's not Vince McMahon's fault that these black people push just stop. Majority of the time, it's not Vince's fault. And I'm about to explain why. Now, this list is not going to be in no particular order, but I'm about to be talking about some of these black superstars. And I'm saying, and we're going to talk about, like some of their name changes and shit like that too. First, we're going to start off with fucking Saba Simba, aka Mr. USA Tony Atlas, pre-WWE. First of all, I'm going to put it to you like this. This one might be a little bit biased me because I don't like Tony Atlas. I seen what he can do. In the past, he was mediocre at best, but nothing about Tony Atlas besides his physique even screamed world champion. You know what I'm saying? Nothing about him. He had a little bit of charisma. He was mediocre on the mic and mediocre in the ring. He just had a good look. That's it. And when he came in, I understand Vince changed his gimmick, to that Saba Simba thing, but you got to think about it from a business standpoint. Tony Atlas is Tony Atlas's real name. You understand? That's his real fucking name. So you gotta think about it like this. If you're moving from one promotion to another promotion, or if you're being hired by Vince, the reason why he changes your name is for his benefit. You know what I'm saying? It's not because people would be like, oh, he's being saddled with some dumb gimmick or something like that or whatever. You know what I'm saying? You gotta think about that shit for copyright and owner reasons. Vince changes names because he needs to own that character that you're going to be portraying. And it's not just black people that he does it to. He does it to a lot of people. Sometimes people might just get their name shortened or whatever. You know what I'm saying? But I don't think Vince McMahon is racist. You know what I'm saying? Tony Atlas he wasn't it. I don't see Tony Atlas being it. He changed his name because, it needed to follow. If he came out, just like an African, that nigga named Mr. USA Tony Atlas, who the fuck is he going to fool? You know what I'm saying? I understand that, he gave him, that African gimmick or whatever. But you gotta think about it like this. There's been a lot of people that had gimmicks. Like look at Dusty Rhodes. Look at him in the NWA, and then look at him in the WWE. They are different. In the NWA and WCW and whatever, Dusty Rhodes was feared. Dusty Rhodes was badass. Dusty Rhodes was fucking shit up. Dusty Rhodes was destroying people on the mic, destroying people in the ring. The bionic elbow. You know what I'm saying? He was the American dream. That's what Dusty did in other promotions. When he came to WWE, he had the polka dots. He had soul. He was the son of a plumber. He always been the son of a plumber. But what I'm saying is, he was, he bought more. He demanded respect. I understand he didn't get that WWE or WWF at the time champion. But obviously, that wasn't going to be it. That's not what was going to happen. You know what I'm saying? That's not what it was going to be. All right, now let's get back to these black wrestlers. We talked about Tony Atlas. I didn't ever think he was going to be there. Let's just be real. And to anybody that's going to watch this, review this, or going to have any comments, we're going to be real. Tony Atlas was never going to be it. He just didn't have it. He didn't have anything about him that screamed main eventer. He was always average at best. He just had a good physique. That's it. All right, so next, let's move on to Ron Simmons, a.k.a. Farouk. Now, you got to think about it like this. Farouk was badass. Farouk is a legit tough guy. Farouk used to bench press 500 pounds. Never worked out and still had, a crazy physique. Dude was strong as shit. You know what I'm saying? People already knew Ron Simmons before he was even a wrestler because of his football background. And, he even had his jersey retired. He was good. He was great at what he do. Ron Simmons is a true natural athlete. Now, granted, when he switched over from WCW to WWE, then WWF, of course, Vince McMahon was going to change his gimmick because Vince don't own Ron Simmons. He didn't own that Ron Simmons gimmick. So, of course, you got to change the gimmick to get in the fit. Now, granted, he came in at a time, where it was, the gimmicks that Vince was popping out just wasn't working at the time. That shit was old school. That shit was 80s. People didn't have to have jobs. People didn't need to be gladiators and shit. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't that. Because that's not what WCW was doing. That's why WCW started, getting them ratings. And once Vince realized that, he changed shit up. But let's think about it like this. What I'm going to say is I think by that time, Farouk was past his prime. I'm not saying he was bad by any means. All I'm saying is he was past his prime. And to be honest with you, I'm not even sure if he wanted to even be world champion. I think, and I'll put you like this. Another thing that people don't realize, when it comes to wrestlers, and this is a black wrestler thing, but it's also a wrestler thing in general. In order to be used and booked properly and correctly, you don't have to be a world champion. You don't have to be world champion in order to be, a big superstar. You don't have to be a world champion to become a household name. I mean, look at Roddy Piper. Never won a world championship, intercontinental championships, never won a world championships. And even to this day, even to people that don't watch wrestling, there's not a person who could say Roddy Piper and you not going to know who he is. All right, but let's get back to Ron Simmons. Now, if you look at his matches in WCW and then look at what he was putting out in the WWF, he's noticeably slower. Still had a great physique, but he's noticeably slower. Not bad, not like how Keith Lee is now. He just wasn't as fast, and he was past his prime. That's it. You know what I'm saying? But he was still booked properly. He still won a lot of his matches. He had he was great with Bradshaw. You know what I'm saying? With the Acolytes, and then the Acolytes protect their agencies, what they became. He was dope. He was used and booked correctly. I think, in my opinion, Ron Simmons was just past his prime. That's why he didn't get that spot. That's why he didn't get it. But obviously, Vince knew, he was aware of Ron Simmons and and how popular he was and how good he actually was. Because if he wasn't good, if he wasn't popular enough, Vince would not have signed him. He probably would have been in the independent scene or wrestling in the WWA or some shit like that. You know what I'm saying? But Vince knew what Ron Simmons was and what he was about. But he had to change his name and change his gimmick to fit in where he was at, so Vince can make money with it. So if Ron Simmons decided to leave that company, he can't leave with that name and he can't leave with that gimmick. It makes sense from a business standpoint. The people got to understand that shit. When Vince changes your name and changes your gimmick, it's for a reason. All right, now let's get to Mark Henry. Vince loves Mark Henry. Period. Everybody knows that. The whole world knows that he loved Mark Henry since day one. And the reason why Mark Henry didn't get that push until later is because, and even Mark Henry has confirmed it himself, he did not take that shit seriously. He didn't care. That's why Mark Henry wasn't where he should have been. He didn't care. You could watch his interview. You could talk about him, and him getting that push later in his career. He didn't care. He didn't take it seriously. It was just a job to him. You know what I'm saying? Even though it's just a job to most people, it was a job. He was just doing it, to do it. And I'm pretty sure he had some fun doing it. But if Mark Henry would have taken it serious and been serious, as a 6'3.5", he likes to go by 6'4", like 300 something pound dude that could dunk a fucking basketball off the vert. Off the fucking vert. Breaking records at that time. The reason why he didn't get pushed and wasn't in the main event spot like he should have been or could have been is his own fault, his own reasons. It was his own reasons. It was his own reason, his own fault why he did not get to where he wanted to be until later on in his WWE career. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? That's it. And I'm not gonna lie, some black talents Vince did just drop the ball on. He did drop the ball on some talents. You know what I'm saying? But we're gonna save that for a different thing because I don't think it was because of racism on Vince anyway. You know, you gotta think about the company that, you know, Vince surrounds himself with. He surrounds himself with like these old school racist ass dudes. You know what I'm saying? Like people that think they black and, you know, but still they think they black and then, you know, want to talk down to blacks. You know what I'm saying? People that want to use our culture, you know, that want to use our culture, but want to degrade us. You know what I'm saying? Or want to be like, I don't like this dude. You know what I'm saying? That's that reason. All right. Here's my career. Let's get to Ahmed Johnson. Ahmed Johnson, when he first came into the WWE, then WWF, that nigga had a fucking rocket strap to his back. He had a rocket strap to his back. He had a great physique, great fucking charisma. The only thing lacking was his in-ring skills, but Vince didn't care about that because he was a draw. He was a draw. That was it. And you gotta think about it. At that time, in the WWF, that's when the Attitude Era was, you know, it was starting up and it was about to get crazy. At that time, a lot of the in-ring shit didn't matter in WWE, then WWF. It didn't matter. That shit did not matter. As long as you was entertaining, the crowd loved you, they popped. And you know, people watched you. You had one of the highest rate, you know, you get a high rating segment, meaning proving to you know, that you're a draw. You know what I'm saying? Now, granted, I was going to say, Ahmed Johnson, yes, he was a draw. He had a lot of charisma. He had a great look, but he sucked in the ring. And that's just one of the many things of why I think he didn't make it, is because he wasn't that good in the ring. I know that's a little bit contradictory to what I said before, that your in-ring skills don't matter, but you gotta at least have the ability to put on a great match, or at least a compelling match. I mean, look at people like John Cena. John Cena's, I don't think he gets the credit where he deserves as far as being, you know, a good wrestler. He's not a great wrestler. He's not the most technical wrestler in the world, but John Cena was good enough to have a good match. He knew how to structure a match. He knew how to get the emotion, you know, from the crowd in the match, whether they booed or cheered him. He knew how to work the crowd. He knew how to sell. He knew how to make other people look good while making himself look good, without him actually being that good. That makes John Cena good. All right. If y'all didn't see that match with the Great Khali can't wrestle for shit. And that last man standing match with the Great Khali was fucking incredible. All right, that shit was incredible. It was amazing. All right, but let's get back to Ahmed Johnson. Ahmed Johnson couldn't do none of that shit. He couldn't structure a match. His moveset was limited. He just wasn't great in the ring. And on top of that, the nigga was injury prone. He was injury prone as fuck. That nigga was always hurt and always injured. Always hurt and always injured. You can't put your money behind a guy that's always hurt and always injured. And I know what some people want to say. Well, what about John Cena? It seems like he was injured more than he actually wrestled. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah. But when John Cena came back, he was back for a longer time, in a longer period of time, and was still putting on bangers and matches. But Ahmed Johnson wasn't doing that. He wasn't making that noise. And on top of that, he was unsafe. He was also unsafe. He hurt a lot of people. I'm pretty sure y'all heard about what happened with Ron Simmons. You know, when he hurt Ron Simmons, when Ron Simmons came back, he fucked him up in front of a live crowd. He fucked him up in front of a live crowd. else y'all gotta understand. He fucked him up in front of a loud crowd. I mean, and it's because this was called a receipt. You hurt somebody, you get hurt back. You know what I'm saying? It's called a receipt in wrestling. All right, but he was injury prone. He was unsafe, and he wasn't that good in the ring. He just had a good look. He was good. He was pretty solid on the mic, and he had a lot of charisma. That's all it was. But he couldn't structure a match if his life depended on it. He could not put on a 5-star match if his life depended on it. All right? He couldn't do it. Now let's get to D-Lo. We're going to talk about D-Lo. D-Lo is the reason why he didn't get put, why he's, his push stopped. And it's even been said by JR and D-Lo himself. After that incident with Dross, D-Lo was never sure of himself again. Now think about that. If you're not sure of yourself, you don't want to do shit, and you're not going out and putting in your all because you're afraid that you might hurt another person, it's wrestling. You understand, when you step in a wrestling ring, you put your life on the line. That's why I hate when people say that shit is fake. It's not real. This, that, and the third. Do you think them injuries that these wrestlers get is not real? Do you think that shit is fake? When he just got dropped on his fucking head and broke his neck, did you think, is that shit fake? When that barbed wire ripped the muscle out of Sabu's arm, and he wrapped his own fucking arm back up, like with that muscle hanging out, and continued to wrestle the rest of the match, you think that shit is fake? That shit is not fake. Yeah, it might be scripted or predetermined, but that shit is not fake. That shit hurts and it takes a toll on your body. I know. I'm being trained right now. I'm training to be a professional wrestler. I'm going to make it to the WWE. And I'm also going to be a successful radiology tech. Always keep your hand in more than one basket. But let's get back. Let's get back to D-Lo. When D-Lo came in, he was hot. He had a semi-great look. His arms looked good. But he always had on a singlet and a chest protector. So I don't really know what his actual body looked like underneath that jumper and chest protector. I mean, I know he wasn't ripped, but his arms looked good. His arms was nice. He was good in the ring. He could talk with the mic and had that fucking charisma that Vince was looking for. He had it. Vince put a rocket to his back. D-Lo could have been something. He could have been something. He could have been something. He could have been in. Even look at his run in TNA. D-Lo could have been something, and you could tell when you watch his work in TNA and watch his pre Droz matches. He still put on some bangers in TNA at the time, and he still put on some good matches in WWE, but it was never the same. He just wasn't as good. The quality wasn't as good. He just wasn't sure of himself. No right business owner is going to push anybody just in business owner, period. That's like you have a manager who's not sure of himself because he's good. He's good at his job. He got all the qualities that you're looking for, but he's not sure of himself. So now think about this. Are you going to push a person that's not sure of themselves? Are you going to promote that person? Are you going to put him with the big leagues? No, you're not. You're not going to do that. D-Lo fucked that up on his own. All right? D-Lo fucked that up on his own. Now let's talk about Booker T. All right? Let's talk about Booker T. First, let's look at Booker T. When in WCW, Booker T was always one of the most popular stars in WCW, even when he was in a tag team with his brother Stevie Ray. As a matter of fact, he was that much better than Stevie Ray. Yeah, Stevie Ray might have been taller. He might have been bigger. But he didn't have the charisma. He wasn't as good in the ring or as good in the mic as Booker T. Booker T had a great look. Booker T had charisma. He had that game on the microphone, and he could go down in a fucking ring with the best of them. He could put on a banger with just about anybody. I don't ever recall seeing that many bad Booker T matches. I could probably count on one hand how many bad Booker T matches I've seen. Whether he was a face or a heel. And we're going to talk about this 2003 thing with Triple H. And you got to understand, you got to think about this. Was that we got to talk about this. You got to understand. Yes, it was obviously racial undertones to that whole program. It was. But you got to understand this. There wasn't a person during Triple H's reign of terror from 2003 to 2004 that was ever going to be able to touch Triple H. During Triple H's reign of terror, everybody got it, whether it was black or white. Now, do I think that program was racist? Absolutely. I don't think Vince wrote that program. I'm pretty sure that was mostly Triple H. You know, Triple H he got major pull back in WWE. He got major pull. So I think that was Triple H. And I think that was all Triple H. I don't think that was Vince. Vince might have okayed it. Vince might have let it happen. But I'm pretty sure Vince didn't go to creative and say, hey man, let's write up all this stuff and be like, you know, we're gonna tell the world we don't like Booker T because he's black. Come on, man, that's gonna fuck Vince up. That's gonna fuck up his business. That's gonna fuck up his business. Come on, man, you gotta be smarter than that. Now I understand he did say keep it up, my nigga, but I don't think that was him being racist. I think that was just him trying to be fucking cool because he seen John Cena. I think that was just him trying to be cool from one world champion to another at that time. That's what I think that was. I don't think it was meant to be racist. And you could talk about that Shelton Benjamin Trish Stratus locker room commercial when Vince was like, you're black. She's a vulnerable white woman. I know what you guys do. I'm not gonna lie. That shit was racist, but I thought that shit was funny because there's some truth to it. Because Vince know that us as black men will fuck the shit out of a white girl in a heartbeat because they long for it and they want us. I thought that shit was funny. Even as a kid, I thought that shit was funny because it was the truth. I wasn't that old yet. I might have. I'm not sure if I was in elementary or if I was in middle school by then. But even then, I liked the white girls. I liked the white girls. I did. Not saying that I didn't like black girls or other races of women, but I liked the white girls. I actually liked the white girls more than I liked other women at one point in time. But I thought that shit was funny. All right, but let's get back to the Booker T thing. All right, so we're gonna rewind a little bit past. We're gonna rewind past that 2003 back to when Booker T first came in. Vince McMahon knew what he had in Booker T. Booker T had a great look. He had charisma. He had everything. He had everything that Vince would look for in a star. You know what I'm saying? He had everything that Vince McMahon would look for in a star. He had everything. And when he came in, he might not have been world champion off rip. But Booker T was used properly. He wasn't used incorrectly. Now, do I think he should have beat Triple H at WrestleMania? Absolutely, it would have been great. But there's a lot of people that wanted to see Triple H lose, but he didn't lose. He killed everybody. He beat everybody from WCW. He even beat Orton. He just couldn't get past Dave. You know what I'm saying? But look at it. Look at his programs with Stone Cold. Look at the programs he had with The Rock, Kurt Angle, John Cena, The Undertaker. If Vince McMahon didn't like this guy or didn't see something in him because he was black, then he would have never been in any of those spots. He might not have won all the battles, but he went out there, he was used properly because Vince liked him, Vince trusted him. That's why Vince put the world champion on. That's why he won King of the Ring. That's why he did that shit. That's why that. And even then, Booker T is inducted to the Hall of Fame 2 times. A 2-time Hall of Famer, Booker T is. 6-time world champion, Booker T is. One of those world champions and one of his best reigns was in WWE. If not the best reign as world champion Booker T had was in WWE. If Vince didn't like black people, do you think that Booker T would have been able to beat The Rock? Arguably the second face of the second face of the WWF just behind Stone Cold. Do you think Booker T would have been able to beat The Rock? The answer is no, he wouldn't. Booker T was used properly. Booker T was a 6-time world champion. Had his best world champion run in the WWE. Was more entertaining in the WWE than he was in WCW, and he was the fucking man in WCW. That's all I'm saying. All right, let's who's another wrestler we can talk about. Let's bring up another black. Let's talk about Shelton Benjamin. All right, I'm gonna be honest with you. I think Shelton Benjamin got in the WWE by pure luck because of his relationship with Brock. That's the only reason Shelton Benjamin even made it to the WWE. Brock said, if you sign me, you gotta sign him too. Vince was like, okay, fuck it. And you can say what you want. I seen a lot of their OVW shit, the Minnesota Wrecking Crew. I seen a lot of their OVW shit. Shelton Benjamin is a better wrestler than Brock Lesnar. Shelton Benjamin just didn't have that charisma and that look that Brock Lesnar had. And that's saying something, because Brock Lesnar is damn good in the ring. And I dare anybody to say anything otherwise. What people are going to say, all he do is come out and do German suplexes. Yeah, Brock Lesnar has proved time and time again that he is one of the best professional wrestlers in the fucking world. Period. And you know why? You're pretty sure he do that suplex city shit because that's all he gotta do. People love it. People get behind it. The shit was dope. It was fun. You know what I'm saying? But let's get back to Shelton Benjamin. Shelton Benjamin had a great look. He had a great look. Shelton Benjamin is no small dude. What is he, about 6'2", 250 pounds? You know what I'm saying? Shelton Benjamin, first of all, Shelton Benjamin is a big motherfucker. I don't know if you've seen Shelton Benjamin recently. He was big back then. Might not have been as big as Brock. But if you've seen Shelton Benjamin at the Royal Rumble in 2020, or seen any of Shelton Benjamin, since he came back, Shelton Benjamin is a big motherfucker. That nigga arms is fucking huge. That nigga chest is fucking huge. Shelton Benjamin is a big dude. He's not small. You know what I'm saying? He's not small. But the thing that took Shelton Benjamin out the game, because I know they seen something in him, because, if they did see something in him, he would have never been Intercontinental Champion. He never would have been a multiple-time Intercontinental Champion. He never would have been booked in good programs. He never would have been a multiple-time tag team champion. You know what I'm saying? It never would have happened. If Vince didn't like black people. None of that shit would have happened. But there was always a limit to Shelton Benjamin. He can't talk. He cannot talk for shit. Now, I know you could argue that, he needed a manager and a mouthpiece. Yeah, his manager could have a mouthpiece, but Shelton Benjamin, he got some charisma to him, but it's just not enough that it screams world champion. But it was a time where he could have been, and I think he should have been world champion. But I don't know, it's a rumor. I heard that, when they approached Shelton Benjamin, when he was doing that gold standard gimmick, when he got moved from Raw to SmackDown, that they approached him about being world champion, and he declined. I don't know if that's true or not. That's just what I've heard that multiple times from different people, watching different interviews and reading different articles and shit. I read that. So if he didn't become world champion, if that's true, it's because of him. If he didn't become world champion, it's because he can't talk and his charisma is limited. He had a good look and he was just good in the ring. You can only go so far being like that. You can only go so far. You know what I'm saying? You can only go so far. All right. Now who else can we talk about? Who else can we talk about? Let's talk about Bobby Lashley. First of all, everybody already knew when Bobby Lashley first signed to WWE in 2006, when he was training at OVW, that Vince was going to want him because he's a big dude, 6'3", about 273 pounds. At least that's what he was billed at. If you ask me, I think he was probably more like 250 because he was big, but he was athletic big, not bodybuilder big. So with that being said, he had that size, but I don't think he had the weight. I think he was just billed at 273, but he looked like he was probably around 250, 260 tops. Bobby Lashley had an incredible physique. He was freakishly strong, incredibly fast, and just overall savage. They used to have to hide Bobby Lashley from Vince because they knew if Vince seen him, he was going to get pushed too early and too soon. And that's exactly what happened. And for all them Bobby Lashley haters, because I got into it with some dude in the comment section one day. He said Bobby Lashley was never over. And I had to, I had to school this nigga, man. I had this man do his homework. I just gave him a bunch of clips to Bobby Lashley back from that 2007 to 2008, time, where he was, they fucking loved him. They loved him. They was loving Bobby Lashley. When his debut, when he came out with the white trunks on, the crowd went wild just because of his look alone. And then he blew through Simon Dean, somebody that had real heel heat. Vince knew Bobby Lashley was special. Now, was he great in the ring? He was okay. But he just needed time. Vince pushed him too early because of what he looked like. He was trying to replicate Brock Lesnar, and Bobby Lashley is not Brock Lesnar. They might got similar backgrounds, but Bobby Lashley is not Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar is not Bobby Lashley. They are two completely different people. They're not the same. But you already know and even though 6'4" is the ideal height for the WWE, 6'4", 6'5" is the ideal height for most professional wrestling companies, with the exception of AEW, where they want people that's like 5 foot tall, 100 pounds, soaking wet to be world champion and shit like that. But anyways, here's what happened. Here's what I think happened with Bobby Lashley first run. Bobby Lashley first run, he had a fucking rocket strap to his back. And this is what made Bobby Lashley look better than what he really was. All the people he was surrounded with. He was surrounded by people like Chris Benoit, Booker T, Batista, JBL, Finlay, William Regal, Umaga, and not to mention Vince McMahon him fucking self. Come on, man. Y'all gonna tell me Vince don't like black talent? Y'all gonna tell me that Vince don't like black talent? Come on, man. Vince don't give a fuck what color you are. He cares about money. Long as you are a draw and you're going to make money, it's going to work. Think about it like this. All right, let's get back to it. His debut came out. He had a rocket strap to his back from there. He was fucking shit up. Even his match with Batista was good. If Vince didn't have the trust in him, or Vince didn't like this dude because he's black, why would Vince put him in that position? Why would he work with Vince directly himself? Why would Vince make him WCW champion despite everybody wanting CM Punk to be champion? Huh? Why? CM Punk is a white guy. Bobby Lashley is a black guy. Granted, CM Punk don't have the look that Bobby Lashley have, but he got more charisma. He's a better wrestler. He can talk better. People cheered CM Punk more than they cheered Bobby Lashley at the time. But Vince still ultimately chose Bobby Lashley. Because he knew it was something with Bobby Lashley, and Vince stuck with it. He stuck with it. Now, with that being said, even though I know he had his thing, with the payout, he was mad because he got paid $250,000 for his spot in WrestleMania, and some people made more than him. You got to think about it like this. I think Bobby Lashley was wrong in that situation because it's people in this world that would never see $250,000, and this nigga made that shit in one night. That's a lot. That's 1% people of the world, that make that in a year. And he made that shit in one night. That's $250,000 fucking dollars. And you're upset about that shit, bro. You should have been happy. You should have accepted that shit. He should have been like, shit, I never made this in my life, and took that shit and ran with it. It was going to be more to come. Then not to mention he was upset because his wife got let go. That's stupid, man. I understand that's your woman. That was your girl at the time. That's your lady. Whatever, I understand that. But you gotta think about it like this. He fucked up. And I understand that, he didn't like it with the dude that wanna be black. I don't want to say Michael P.S. Hayes, but Michael P.S. Hayes, the dude that swear he's black. He didn't like Bobby Lashley because he was good. That's what happened. That's what I think. But I don't think that mattered. I don't think that shit mattered. Because at the end of the day, it is Vince's company. He's ultimately going to do what he want to do and push who he want to push. Because there's wrestlers that been there, that been lobbied for pushes from people in the backstage. And Vince didn't fucking push them. And those people was white. Vince is going to push who you want to push based on if you're a draw or if you're going to make money or not. Bobby Lashley left. He left. Now, in my opinion, I think if Bobby Lashley, people like, he got hurt or, he was buried after John Cena or whatever. I don't think so. Because in that match, Bobby Lashley did sustain a legit injury in that match with Cena. He sustained a legit injury. But he decided to leave. He decided to leave the company. He decided that he wanted to be out of this contract, that he wasn't going to resign. That was him. That was on him. I think if Bobby Lashley would have came back, he might have went back to SmackDown, because I'm pretty sure that's where he was going to end up. He might have went back to SmackDown. He might have went back to Raw. You never know. But I'm just going out on a limb here. I'm throwing shit at the water, see what's thick. But I'm pretty sure if Bobby Lashley would have never left, that he would have been a multiple-time world champion in WWE. I'm pretty sure he would have been that monster. That's what I think. All right, now let's fast. All right, Bobby Lashley's gone. He's making noise in the world of MMA. He's doing his thing on the independent scene. He's doing his thing in TNA. If Bobby Lashley wasn't a draw, like some people think that he's not a draw, I don't think that TNA would have been, after TNA went downhill, after, the fucking old ass Hulk Hogan and Eric Bischoff tried to turn that shit into WCW 2.0. When Bobby Lashley came back for his second run in a company, that nigga, he was essentially what Brock Lesnar was, but a full-timer to TNA. What Brock was to WWE. Bobby Lashley held every title. Bobby Lashley smashed everybody. Everybody tuned in every week. And if you think I'm lying, you can go back and look at the ratings from when Bobby Lashley was champion and when he was holding all the belts. Whether he was a heel or babyface, he always got a great reaction. A great reaction is better to no reaction. Fast forward, Bobby Lashley returns after WrestleMania. Got a good fucking pop, a great pop. Stone Cold even acknowledged how good the reaction was on his podcast with Bobby Lashley. You know what I'm saying? And I think that some of Bobby Lashley booking, his issues with his booking the issue probably came from him himself, because I'm not going to say Bobby Lashley is soft, but to me, based on all the interviews I've seen and the things that people said about Bobby Lashley, he's a genuinely nice and good-hearted guy. Apparently, he's not a selfish person. You know what I'm saying? He's genuinely a nice and good guy. So, with that being said, I don't think he had enough balls to be like, I'm not doing this with this person. I'm not going to let this person do this to me. Because at this point, he's making wrestling look not believable. Because he's letting people book him in certain situations. Because he wasn't nice enough. Because he wasn't mean enough to be like, I'm not doing that shit. Like, there's no reason Bobby Lashley should have lost to Finn Balor at WrestleMania. Bobby Lashley is bigger than him. He's faster and he's stronger. If you put them two in a real life fight, in a real life situation, Bobby Lashley is going to win with ease. Especially given his credentials. He's going to win with ease. There's no reason Bobby Lashley should have lost. I would have been like, I'm not losing this match. It does not make sense. Not being a dickhead, but thinking about it from an actual, wrestling standpoint. It don't make sense. Why would this 6 foot tall, 190 pound dude be able to beat a 6'3", 273 pound fucking gigantic man that looked like he fell off the side of Mount Rushmore or some shit? A dude that looked like he got fucking created as a sculpture or something. That's dumb. And Bobby should have been like, I'm not doing that. And then think about it like this: when Bobby first came back, he had his little thing with Elias or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And Elias was pretty popular at that time. Even as a heel, he was still getting cheered. So I understand, if Elias got that, a couple of W's over Bobby, but it shouldn't have happened the way it happened. Like, it should have been like, it should have made Lashley go out looking strong with it. You know what I'm saying? And then that Three Sisters thing, man, I'm going to be honest. I think some of Bobby Lashley's bad booking might have been punishment for him leaving the WWE in 2007, especially all that Vince did for him. Especially with the rocket that he had on his back. You know what I'm saying? I think that was punishment. Even everybody gets punished. Everybody gets punished. Stone Cold got punished with that Rock promo. Stone Cold take his ball and go home or whatever, that Rock promo. Brock Lesnar losing to John Cena when he first came back at Extreme Rules. You know what I'm saying? Vince will love you. He'll love you. And his doors are always open back for you. Everybody knows that. But this dude came back and went over Roman clean in their first match. Now, from my understanding, they were supposed to go on to a program with Brock Lesnar, but it ended up not being the case. Those plans got scrapped. Or whatever. Those plans got scrapped. But you gotta think about who Roman was at that time. This dude beat Undertaker at WrestleMania. Only the second person to do it. There's only been 2 people to beat Undertaker at WrestleMania. That being Brock and Roman. And this dude came and beat Roman clean with a spear. With a single spear. He beat him clean. If Vince didn't like black people, or if Vince didn't see black people, it could be a draw, or didn't have his money, or don't invest in black people, that would not have happened. Look at the Street Profits. Look at how they being booked. They're multiple time Raw Tag Team Champions. One of the most entertaining people on Raw. Look at Sasha Banks. Look at Sasha Banks. Scratch that. Before Sasha Banks, let's look at some of the past black female wrestlers. Look at Jacqueline. Look at Jacqueline. One of the toughest fucking women in professional wrestling. Women's champion. Great matches, used correctly. Look at Jazz, used correctly. Shaniqua could have been it, but Shaniqua had a bad attitude backstage. If you got a bad attitude, nobody's going to want to work with you. Nobody's going to want to push you. That's why she didn't make it. She ultimately left. Look at Charmel. She wasn't even a wrestler. It had a better push than a lot of the divas did back at that time. Look at Bianca Belair. Back-to-back WrestleMania wins. Main event at WrestleMania last year. Hey, what the fuck y'all niggas talking about? Y'all want to say Vince is racist? Look at Bobby Lashley, 2-time WWE champion. First black man to be a 2-time WWE champion. Look at Kofi. If people want to be like, oh, that could have been Mustafa Ali. No, Mustafa Ali was never going to win a world champion. And even if that was the case, it never would have worked because Mustafa Ali was never as over as Kofi. Never will be as over as Kofi. Period. That's why Kofi got that spot. That's why Kofi got that spot. Look at the push that Kofi had when he first came. Even after Randy halted his momentum, Kofi was still being pushed and used correctly. Multiple time United States champions, tag team champions, intercontinental champions. Putting on bangers, stealing the shows at the Royal Rumble. Throwing crazy shit like using letters as stilts in a Money in the Bank ladder match. Come on, man. Y'all niggas is tripping if y'all think Vince is racist. Y'all motherfuckers is tripping. Vince ain't racist. Vince cares about money and if you're going to be a draw. If you want it. You know what I'm saying? He cares about money and if you're going to be a draw. And I know people are like, oh, Vince dropped the ball with Keith Lee. No, Keith Lee dropped the ball with Keith Lee. As a matter of fact, Keith Lee picked up the ball and ate that shit. When Keith Lee went to WWE, when he got signed to NXT, he was smaller. And granted, I love Keith Lee. I'm a huge Keith Lee fan. I am a huge Keith Lee fan. But Keith Lee did not do what he was instructed to do. You gotta understand this. Keith Lee is a big dude. What he got? He gotta be about 6'2". I don't think he's 6'4" or nothing like that, but I don't think he's 6'3", but he gotta be like 6'2". Dude look like he's nearly 400 pounds now. At that time, he was probably what? About 340 he looked like he was? Probably built to be like 360 or something like that. He looked like he was really around like 330 pounds. Keith Lee got hurt. He came back. This motherfucker was massive. Motherfucker got huge. He got health problems because he just won't lose the fucking weight. This dude doing fucking spaceman planches and landing on the back of his fucking neck on the side of the ring apron. The hardest part of the ring, he could have broke his neck. He could have ended his life or his career. You know what I'm saying? If Vince McMahon instructs you to do something, just do that shit. Like, I don't care. If I was Keith Lee and I knew I was good, and you know, people keep saying, I personally don't think there's nothing wrong with the way Keith Lee talk. That's mostly because, you know, when I'm talking to the people I'm close with, like the people that I got real relationships with, I use a lot of big words. The reason why I talk, you know, the reason why I simplify the way I speak is because a lot of people, when I do talk to them using words and shit people don't use on an everyday basis, or that's not in their vocabulary or in their everyday vocabulary, people didn't know what the fuck I was talking about. So I just dumb myself down. So I don't see a problem with the way Keith Lee talk. But with that being said, when they switch Keith Lee, if I was Keith Lee, they were like, hey man, we want you to stop doing all them suicide dives and doing them flips and shit. Do big man moves. Be a big man. You're a big man. That's what we want. When they took him from Limitless to being the Bearcat, he should have did everything he can to make that shit work. I'm pretty sure he could have got it over. He could have still been pelting people. He could have still been billing people. You know what I'm saying? He even had that spot with Brock Lesnar in the 2020 Royal Rumble. Even Brock was saying that that's a big motherfucker. Yes, he is. He's not even fast anymore. You know what I'm saying? He's not even fast anymore as he used to be. Keith Lee had everything it took to be a star. What Vince wanted. They just wanted him to drop some weight and wrestle like a big man, just like a traditional big man. That's not the indies. Now you got a worldwide audience, millions of people viewing you from different countries. You got to do what work for TV. That's not a bingo hall. You're not wrestling in front of like 100 people. That's not some high school gymnasium. You got to do what appeal to casuals, not hardcores. That's the reason why I think WWE is the best company. Because they might not, the hardcore audience might not be, WWE says, but when WWE put on bangers, they put on fucking bangers. And when WWE do it right, goddamn it, they do that shit right. It's a lot they get wrong. But for every one thing they get wrong, it's 2 or 3 things they get right, and people don't want to understand it. People don't want to look at all the positive shit about WWE. They just want to be negative about it. You know what I'm saying? Keith Lee dropped the ball on himself. He should have just listened to Vince. He should have lost the weight. He should have adapted to that Bearcat gimmick. I don't know what the fucking Bearcat is. People ask Keith Lee, hey man, what's a Bearcat? Don't worry about what it is. Keith Lee is a Bearcat. You know what I'm saying? I say some shit, say some simple shit like that. Don't worry about what it is. Keith Lee is a Bearcat. I am. You know what I'm saying? And if your higher ups is telling you that they got a problem with the way you speak, change that shit up. Change that shit up. Talk with some assertions, man. Be dominant with that shit. You a big dude. Talk big. Man, that's all I got to say about that. Vince ain't racist to me. I don't think Vince McMahon is racist. I think as long as you got it, no matter what color your skin is, as long as you can make him money, he will push you. That's how I'm concluding that. Ladies and gentlemen, peace out.